Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. And today, my friends, we're back with a showdown between Norsca and Khorne here in Immortal Empires. So certainly going to be a big showcase here for the Marauder Chieftain on the Mammoth. I figured he would be one of the better choices. So you could go Wulfric on Mammoth, which probably would be maybe the stronger option, but I kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit, try a cheaper lord. He does have the AoE combat buff, the Flaming Axe of Cormac, I believe is what it's called, so it does imbue a little bit of melee attack. So I was like, let's give this guy a try here, put him with the infantry. You see their stats are sauced up and see how it goes. Throg, in theory, would be okay against Khorne. I mean, Khorne does have a number of large targets like Spawn and the Fleshhounds and many of their characters, but the issue with Throg is most of the Khorne roster, not most of it, but they do have access to a fair amount of fire damage, especially on their characters, so if they came in with like a big Bloodthirster, that would be very bad for you. But I do think that Norsca, even though they have a very limited roster, right, their lore choices are kind of sparse and they don't have a ton of like cool stuff, I do think that Norsca actually might have some teeth in domination mode. I mean, they have good, cheap, cost-effective infantry. Marauder Berserkers and the Norscan mechanic of Enrage, or Berserk, is basically designed to fight a prolonged fight over a certain point, right? And so they have that kind of objective holding power. The longer they fight, they get physical resist, melee attack, other stuff like that. Granted, it's not super useful against a demonic build. We've got Brutes of the Hound. Skin Wolves with armor will trade extremely cost effectively against Fleshhounds. The armor will mitigate much of their damage. The anti-large bonus will do a great job against them. And yeah, we got the throwing axes. So if they want to spam like a bunch of warriors with dual weapons or shielded warriors, whatever, we have the Marauder Hunters with the shield breaker and the armor piercing. So like Norsca doesn't feel that bad. You also do have Skin Wolves to go, hit the flanks. You have the Famir to go capture objectives. All sorts of crazy stuff like that. So I like this quite a bit. Now, for the army double Berserker, we do have the Marauder Chieftain on the Mammoth. And I wanted to try him instead of Wulfric because of the Flaming Axe of Cormac. It gives you a little bit of damage and does also give you melee attack. So I figured we'd have a big, ugly blob fight in the middle here. And that's pretty much it from our army. Now, for the forces of Dov here, he went with a mass demonic army. He wanted to just kind of swarm the objectives, overwhelm you with good quality troops. So he's got Bloodletters, the Hellforged Host, more Bloodletters, double Blood Reaper. So we're certainly experimenting with some wild stuff. And now that cultists aren't that good, at least the Khorne ones, because the summons are a little bit harder, they're more of like a niche unit. Blood Reapers might come in and get the job done. They certainly are durable, very fighty, and they do magic damage. They can actually cut through a lot of my physical resist, which is kind of a staple of many Norscan units. It's just like a big Bloodletter build. Fleshhounds, of course, will be coming in soon. Objectives, on the sides will be contested. All the fun things that you've known to come and expect. But the hordes of Norsca stand at the gates, ready to fight against their cousins here on the other side. It is the Hound versus the Blood God. Norsca worships the Hound, obviously, which they, is essentially just Khorne, but they perceive it a little bit differently. So I can see there being some misunderstandings between these two factions, as I take a very defensive posture, trying to utilize the terrain to not get flanked, because I know he has a bigger army. But Marauder Berserkers are incredibly tough to break down. Like, they have low armor, yes, but the armor piercing that you're paying for in Bloodletters isn't going to be terribly useful here. What would really wreck my Marauder Berserkers would be the dual wielding Khorne warriors, but that's why we brought the Hunters and the Mammoth and all that sort of good stuff. So, big flank play coming in from Khorne. We got the Fleshhounds and the Doggies. Who let the dogs out? Well, Khorne certainly did. I have my Norscan Warhounds and some Skin Wolves with armor going over there. And the Mammoth is just going deep, just running these guys over. And honestly, I think Mammoths are potentially going to be good. And matchups against like Nurgle, where they don't have like a big kind of shooting contingency, I think that these guys could do some pretty good work. But yeah, they're getting good damage in, man. They brought these Bloodletters down quite a bit. Throwing axes are now getting in there. And now we have the Berserkers battling against the Bloodletters of Khorne. A super cool looking fight. But the Flaming Sword of Rune's going to be going down in a minute, which will be imbuing the fire damage, I believe. When we see the cast going down, yes. So now we're going to be circumventing the 25% or 20% physical resist for these bad boys. And Brutes of the Hound are making just quick work against these demons. Just these elite Berserkers. They don't even have magic damage right now, but look how badly they are pounding the Bloodletters. In the meantime, the Hellforged Host is kind of creeping around with some Exalted Bloodletters, and the big Mammoth is going to get in there and have a word with their manager. So huge tusks coming in as the Norscan War Beast, just generating huge value for me here. And honestly, many of my infantry are trading incredibly cost effectively. The throwing axes in guard mode are able to throw and lend some DPS to the front lines. Halberds, or excuse me, spears on the far side doing well. And unfortunately, though I am double capped, Khorne has the middle, and they also have objective 3. But guys, I have the sneakiest of traps coming. We are going to be summoning in the Famir. So we got the Miststalkers who have stock, and they're going to be leading the charge. 110 armor. These guys, I think, are going to be kind of a sleeper strong unit in this game mode. So they leap in, they come out of their stock. The Khorne units don't notice them. And now the Skin Wolves, as well as the Norscan Warhounds, are going to be leaping in there. And we'll for sure decisively win this. Like the 110 armor, 52 melee defense is just basically a hard counter against the Flesh Hounds, and they do magic damage, so against demons, extra solid, right? Now in the middle, looking pretty wild, we do see the Khorne Goon Squad getting in there, so they're going after my Shaman Sorcerer of Fire, but the big Mammoth not going to let his friend go down easy as he does trample over those units, getting huge damage, just absolutely destroying that Herald of Khorne. That bad boy is having a really, really bad time. Marauder Berserkers grinding here against the Exalted Bloodletters and the basic Bloodletters, and I have to say, guys, I am super impressed with the cost effectiveness of the Marauder Berserkers. Like overall, they've been trading like upwards into these demons super well, with the exception of the Hellforged Host. And the reason why the Hellforged Host is really good here is because they of course do have armor, right? So they're going to be very, very tough for my Berserkers who do lack armor piercing. But the Mammoth just absolutely crushes the Khorne Lord. Pure brutality. And now he's going to be turning his tusks on the other Blood Reaper here. And Mammoths have always been one of the better anti-infantry monsters. Like they're really good at killing infantry SCMs. So like I've been in matchups against Norsca with Chaos back in the day where Sigvald just got absolutely plowed by Wulfric on a Mammoth with Sword of Torgald. Like all that stuff can happen for sure. Now top objective is ours. We have Spears fighting off the Chaos Warhounds and some Hounds of our own helping to defend. On the bottom objective, we get control of it. So we have the Miststalkers, the Skinwolves, as well as the Norscan Warhounds controlling the objective. As far as value trading goes, I'm up by about 800 to 1,000 right now, so it's a close-ish game. I'm still kind of being pushed back in the middle a little bit. My Lord is low, and we do get the spawn of Khorne moving in while my Flesh Hounds and my Berserkers with the Flaming Sword of Ruin continue to try and fight against the Demonic Horde, which is not easy by any stretch. So the Condom Wolves are going to be pulling back, looking to cycle charge in onto the spawn here, but spawn, of course, hitting very, very hard. The Norscan leadership holding pretty well, especially with the Mammoth nearby, providing that nice encouragement. A couple of units that need to be unsummoned here. And we leave the Miststalkers on the far objective because these guys are going to be an unholy nightmare to get rid of. Now, in the current rendition, there have been many changes to capture weight. I'm going to be doing a separate video on capture weight, but monstrous infantry did get nerfed in capture weight, and so too did expendable infantry, things like zombies and skeletons. There's a lot of changes that you have to account for, but overall, yeah, infantry are still pretty good, but cavalry got a big buff, so cav units have good capture weight now. You got to watch out. They can actually out-capture monstrous infantry, I think. I can't quite recall. But the Blood Reapers getting trampled, the big Mammoth still fighting, and we're holding back the tide of demons. Another Berserker is on its way in as we continue to try and grind through this. And here comes, I believe, the Flaming Sword of Ruin once again. Doesn't help you too much against the spawn, who are mortal units, but even still, it does give you base damage of 30%. Side objective in a little bit of danger. Khorne getting some Furies as well as some more Warhounds and Flesh Hounds over here, and I really don't have too many good options, but look at the tenacity of even a single Marauder Spearman unit. You know, they do have the Enrage mechanic, which was buffing them for quite some time, but, you know, eventually Khorne does push me off the side using their Flesh Hounds, which are just very, very scary. But one of our secret weapons this game has been the Famir, right? The magic damage, the staying power of these guys, the durability. Their leadership isn't, like, amazing. I guess 75 isn't bad, but, like, it's going to take a lot for Khorne to finish off Famir on the side. They could probably get a surround. Like, if they hit them in the front with the Flesh Hounds and then surrounded them with other Hounds, they could probably break the leadership, but we are making our way to the middle, right? Like, the spawn are pretty much the last bastion of units fighting here. The Berserker is still fighting well. Hellforged Host, not sure where they're going. It looks like they're trying to chase my Berserkers. Yeah, now they're just going to turn around and collapse on me here as we need to start unsummoning units. A little bit sloppy on that, but those Berserkers are going to be sent back to the Northern Wastes as we look to try and save this objective. So, Khorne Dogs capping pretty effectively. Famir hustling over. They're not super quick, 45 speed, but maybe we'll be able to save this. On the far side, we do have that objective. The middle is still held. We are not down by that much. You know, we had the objective for some time, so it was able to us to kind of catch up on points here. But now the Famir Warriors have arrived, and it is time to get down and dirty. So they're going to be jumping on top of the Chaos Warhounds here, and also the Norscan Warhounds with Poison are going to be jumping across, and hopefully we'll be able to chase those guys off. We'll see. But yep, they do get the objective. It's owned by me, but not for much longer. Hounds actually have good capture weight, so he is able to get that, but I think with the Berserkers we pulled from the middle, we'll be able to easily wrestle that. And in the middle, the big chungus Mammoth has done it. As far as value accrued, 3,000 value, man, on this Mammoth. That is really good. I mean, he cost far less than that. I was able to take out the two of the Khorne Lords, or two of the heroes and the Lord. The Lord actually got resummoned here, which was a little bit ambitious, because now he's just going to get circle beaten again by the Mammoth. What you do is you surround him with the Hounds, and then the big daddy Mammoth is going to move across here. Here he comes. And you could just see, it's just round 2 fight. Just getting circle beaten by that Mammoth. Oh my god, the sheer brutality, man. But he is able to get me. You know, he force attacks, but the Mammoth Lord does go down, but that's like 100% worth. The amount of damage we did there was very good. And we do also have the triple cap right now on the Forces of Khorne. We were up by about 2,000 value at this point, so we did have a pretty good value lead. Berserkers and Famir holding on this side. Skinwolves holding in the middle, but we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding as Khorne does posture itself for one last attempt on some of the side objectives. Double Berserkers summoned to go to the middle, and that is going to be so, so tough for Khorne to deal with. The Berserker leadership is crazy, but the Fleshhound's doing a ton of damage to them. Wow, look at Fleshhounds. I mean, Fleshhounds are just such an incredibly good unit. Brutes of the Hound, on the other hand, not showing any mercy, and we do summon in some Ice Wolf Chariots. So the Ice Wolf Chariots are able to get in here and run over some of these Khornate demons. Certainly quite fun. And there you have it, guys. I mean, Norsca certainly has some teeth. I really don't think they're going to be that bad in domination on brawler maps. Like, if you want to play Norsca on Galleon's Cove, Crossing of the Sea of Claws, which is one of their maps, you know, any of those maps that aren't like huge, like Black Ark, Arnheim, it says like a toss-up, but they have good monstrous infantry for bullying people. They have good quality infantry with a little bit of range support and utility that some of the other like Chaos-style factions don't have, and maybe there's a little bit of hope for Norsca, guys. I really hope so. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. We'll see you next time. Big Mammoth going crazy. 3,200, looking at the Khornate value. The Hellforged Host, it just goes to show how good the armor was, right? Like, I think if he had had a bunch of armor, like a bunch of dual-wielding warriors, it would have been a much harder fight. However, the Mammoth is really good at killing armored infantry blobs, and the throwing axes might have had a better field day too. So it's not like we were ill-equipped for that. Also, Famir would hard counter the dual-weapon warriors extremely efficiently. So there's options there. But anyways, GG, well played. We'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves, and that is it for today.